Good to see number 59, Joe Musgrove, back on the field again as he is making his first start in 17 days. Last started a game on May 26, coming off the DL with some shoulder soreness, and he is ready to go tonight to open up a 3-game series against the Texas Rangers. Despite the fact that Houston had their first losing record for a full week, they still lead the Angels by a dozen games in the AL West. The Angels, the first divisional opponent to win a series against the Astros this year. Mariners and Rangers come in 13 games back. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Astros Baseball. I'm Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. And Blummer, when you look at this head-to-head series, 2015, 2016, dominated by the Rangers, but this year things have turned around.
Yeah, it has kind of flipped that script a little bit, and it's good to see the Astros going out there playing very good baseball against these Rangers. But the offense is one thing that we have been able to count on here in the last month and a half. They have put up great numbers, and a lot of the reason why they are playing so well against the Texas Rangers is because of those offensive numbers. You see the record is completely flipped, and they're still working on it with that 6-1 start. But the almost 7 runs per game is pretty impressive considering what the Rangers are throwing out there as far as starters. It's the bullpen where these guys have really jumped on them and put that 288 average to them, the OPS at 902, and here in 7 games, already 16 home runs. So these guys are driving the ball well, and there's a good core group of guys doing some damage.
It's a trio of guys who have really done a lot of damage against Texas.
Yeah, Springer, Marwin Gonzalez, Carlos Correa. You're not going to see Margot in that lineup tonight, but he is ready and waiting. A couple of his home runs have proved big home runs against that bullpen right there. That was a grand slam that put the Astros ahead. So some timely and clutch hitting, and 3 guys through the month of May have really made adjustments in their swing, tightened up on the zone, and have been on the attack with runners on base. That guy right there, Carlos Correa, has really been the catalyst. Won that player of the month in May. A lot of the reason was because he was driving the ball out of the ballpark with runners on.
Correa hit that big home run against Darvish. That's who's on the mound tonight for the Rangers. As we get you ready for baseball, we'll remind you this is the Lone Star Series in the battle for the Silver Boot. It's the Rangers and the Astros, first of 3, and game number 8 in their 19-game season series coming up. Yes to low Bears with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Joe Musgrove returns to the rotation at a vital time as the Astros struggle to stay healthy on the mound. Julian Morales is back with more on that when we return.
Get back on track, scuffling a little bit this weekend against the Angels, and they took another hit today. One of their best pitchers and one of the best pitchers in the league, the American League Pitcher of the Month for May, Lance McCullers Jr., landed on the 10-day DL today with lower back soreness. He's been dealing with just a day now. It happened yesterday while playing catch and got worse throughout the night. They knew he'd miss a start, so they decided to put him on the 10-day DL to give him a little more time. A frustrating time for this Astros team as now 3 of their 5 starting pitchers to open the season are on that disabled list right now. And the way Lance was pitching, it's disappointing for him as well. Next man up has been the mentality for these Houston Astros. It's our Kubota pitching performance as we look at the next guy. It's Joe Musgrove, who was activated today. That was the corresponding move for the Astros, and he hasn't made a start since May 26th. That was against the Orioles right here at Minute Maid Park, and he's actually been on the DL with shoulder soreness. So back healthy tonight, but it came at a disappointing time for him, just the way he was throwing the ball. You see his numbers from that particular start. It was his best start of the season, not allowing any runs that night, 7 innings, only 4 hits, didn't walk anybody that day. Feeling really good about things was Joe, and for him to go on the DL, he was obviously disappointed, but knew he wanted to take care of the problem then. He's coming back healthy now, and guys, he is coming at the perfect time for this ball club.
You're right about that, Julia. Not only 3 guys on the DL from the opening day roster, the first 3 starters of the season for the Astros, and now Joe Musgrove gets a chance to come back from injury, and it'll be interesting to see how he fares tonight.
Yeah, hopefully that time on the DL has given him some confidence, and it probably kept him a little bit more healthy and a little more aggressive on that mound. Hopefully coming straight downhill, getting the mechanics right. That's key for a lot of these young guys, is being able to repeat that delivery. And Joe Musgrove, it's just a shame that he had to go on the deal after having such a good start, because you'd like to see guys create a little bit of momentum. But for the Astros and the way things are going right now, they're going to have to create a new momentum. Joe has good numbers. That last time out we talked about it, as Julie was talking about, he pitched 7 innings, not giving up an earned run. But last time he faced the Texas Rangers, he took the loss when he went 4 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 5 total. But the interesting thing about Joe is that you will see him throw a lot of strikes.
He is a strike thrower, and hopefully he will be tonight, because he's probably not fully extended yet in terms of a high pitch count. Here's the lineup he will face as Jeff Bannister will roll out this Texas Rangers lineup. Delino DeShields will lead off in center field, followed by Shin-Soo Choo in right, Elvis Andrus at shortstop. Adrian Beltre had an 8-game hitting streak snapped. He's at third base. Nomar Mazara has had some success against Musgrove. He bats fifth. Jonathan Lucroy is a designated hitter, batting number 6. Rugnet Odor, Joey Gallo, and Robinson Chirinos round out your Texas Rangers lineup. Last time the Astros faced the Texas Rangers was in Arlington. A few things have changed since then, but the Astros wrapped up a series sweep against the Rangers on June 4th, and here we are 8 days later starting a new series. But the Astros in that set had Dallas Keuchel available and Lance McCullers Jr. Both of those guys now on the DL. In fact, Keuchel matched up with Yu Darvish the last time Darvish pitched against the Astros. So a different look to the rotation for a little while, and Joe Musgrove back for the first time since May 26th. Delino DeShields has been hot lately, as you see, hitting .450 in his last 6 games, has that average up to .293. Musgrove starts off DeShields with a strike, 0-1. CB Bucknor is the umpire behind home plate tonight. And it's 1-1. Oh, check that, 0-2, says Mark Carlson. The first base umpire said DeShields went around. Carlson at first, Manny Gonzalez third, the crew chief fielding Culbreth at third base.
Yes, he did.
And he does hold up there. Brian McCann behind the plate, catching for Joe Musgrove tonight. Foul to the plate, staying alive. It's 1-2. Astros winning 6 out of 7 against the Rangers so far this season. Coming off the first series this year where they lost a series to a divisional opponent, the Angels taking 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Musgrove shoots the outside corner and misses. It's 2-2. 67% strike percentage, and that is amongst the top 10 in all of baseball. If he was qualified, doesn't have enough innings to qualify for a lot of those leaderboards. In the air to right, Josh Reddick is there. And the first batter of the game, DeShields, it's a fly out to right field. We're underway.
Look at some of Joe Musgrove's numbers. After the 0-1 count, you see very good numbers. The .263 average is okay, but the on-base percentage down at 30%. But what you like to see is that strikeout number up. He's well above what he was doing after that 1-0 count. That's what A.J. Hinch is constantly talking about, taking command of those ABs by being able to get that first pitch strike over, and then the pitcher can do whatever he wants to do. And Joe Musgrove, after that, is where he's got to get a little bit better with some of the put-away pitches that he has.
Shin-Soo Choo, the batter, takes a pitch a little low for a ball, 1-0. Well, if there is a silver lining or two to this rotation that has seen so many injuries, Keuchel, Morton, Musgrove was, now he's back out on the active roster, but Keuchel, Morton, McCullers Jr., and McHugh all in DL right now for the Astros, is that other guys who maybe weren't going to be in the rotation this year are getting an opportunity to make a name for themselves, as Choo sends one towards Gurriel, broken bat, soft line drive for out number 2.
It is good to get those guys opportunities, but at the same time, we know that depth now is an issue. It wasn't before, but now these guys, your depth is now in the big leagues, and that might be the one concerning thing for the Houston Astros.
Yeah, you want to give them opportunities, just not all at the same time.
Exactly. That's a very good point.
Here's Elvis Andrus. You see that 15-game hitting streak is currently the longest active streak in the big leagues. Those 35 RBIs are the second most for a shortstop, trailing only Carlos Correa. And pitch misses inside for a ball, 1-0.
With those injuries to Dallas and Lance, we know Colin McHugh's on there for an extended amount of time. Also, another guy who should have been in this Astros rotation. We haven't heard anything other than the fact that this should be a temporary DL stint for these guys. Missing one start for sure, possibly two, but nothing extensive like a Charlie Morton or a Colin McHugh.
2-0 pitch is a strike. And if there's a second silver lining, Colin McHugh is not going to get close to the innings pitch he wants. But if there's a second silver lining, it's that innings pitch total, whether it is a Charlie Morton or a Lance McCullers Jr. And Joe Musgrove's in that category too. A lot of these guys have never attacked that 200 inning threshold. And even though they don't want the breather by being on the DL, if you need them late in September or October, having a little rest at some point in the season is not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
No, I completely agree, and we've heard, especially with the young pitchers like a Joe Musgrove or a Lance McCullers Jr., is the pitch counts and the innings that they're putting on that arm. So this is kind of a number one, get healthy for sure, of course, but also number two, it gives these guys a chance to push them back a little bit, like you're saying, and maybe have some of those big innings later in the season for them.
Some extra bullets late. Unfortunately, the DL is filling up right now. 2-2 pitch on the ground. Bregman is there. Gloves it, throws across, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning for Joe Musgrove to start this one. By Southwest Airlines. George Springer has good numbers against Yu Darvish. He leads things off for the Astros, followed by Josh Reddick. Jose Altuve starts the day tied for 10th in Astros franchise history in total hits. Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann, Yuli Gurriel, Alex Bregman, and the guy with the Golden Players Club jacket, Norichika Aoki.
On the mound for the Texas Rangers, you're taking a look at Yu Darvish. A couple of starts ago, he faced Houston in Texas. Went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs. One of them was a big 3-run home run to Carlos Correa on a hanging slider on the outer third. See his whip right around 1.13. It is starting to climb a little bit because in the last 4 starts, he has given up at least 1 home run. He's given up 5 home runs in his last 4 starts. So look for the Astros to try and get him elevated and drive him out of here, because if he's down in the zone, he is very good.
He pitched the opener of the 3-game series in Arlington. And in that start, Carlos Correa got him for a big 3-run home run, and that was kind of a tone setter for that series. The Astros had won 3 out of 4 here at Minute Maid Park, but Keuchel and Darvish were dueling with zeros in that game until Correa hit that big home run. The other thing the Astros were able to do, Blummer, in that game was get his pitch count up.
We know the Astros are very good at that. Did the same thing to Jason Vargas later in that road trip that seemed to last the entire month of May and part of June. And that's what got to the Minnesota Twins to start out that road trip too, is beating those starters out of the game and starting to beat up on some bullpens.
On the ground, Darvish can't glove it. Beltre does, and he makes the play to first, just in time to beat Springer.
As good as that play was by Beltre, I'm giving a lot of credit to that guy right there, Joey Gallo. Kind of a do-or-die pick on this slow roller. Really thought George had a shot with that onside run from Beltre. You'll see it on our Mattress Firm Supermo. Kind of slings it in a hurry, but as he does, it heads into the dirt, and a good scoop by Joey Gallo.
So the corner is making a good play to start this game, very similar to the way the Astros started the game yesterday, where Bregman and Yuli Gurriel retired Cameron Maybin. Here's Josh Reddick. Reddick riding a 7-game hitting streak, has also reached base in 19 consecutive games. Odor on the right side, and 2 groundouts to start the game for Yu Darvish. Last 4 starts, Darvish pitch count per inning has been very much elevated.
I'd say he's averaging 16.6 like we were talking about, but to pump him up another 5 pitches per inning, that'll shorten your outing in a hurry. 5 innings, you throw 100+ pitches. It's not what any manager really wants to see from their ace.
Astros put 104 pitches on him in 5 innings. Here's Jose Altuve. Altuve is currently tied for 10th with Enos Cabell with 1,124 career hits. Towards third, the shortstop instead makes the play. Andrews just in time to get Altuve. So a grounder to third, a grounder to second, and a grounder to short in a 6-pitch inning.
Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Kids up to 12 years old get a voucher for 4 tickets to a select Astros game, priority access to kids on the bases, player autograph sessions, and more. Visit astros.com/buddies to get a Buddies membership for your kid today. Joe Musgrove back to work through 15 pitches in that first inning. That's getting into this game, guys, is going to be the key for him. They're obviously going to be very cautious with him as he's coming off that injury, but they're going to try for him to not have the 25-30 pitch inning, because that's where things could go a little quicker for him today, and they might have to pull him a little bit earlier than they want. Tough bullpen day for the Astros yesterday. Of course, we've been talking about that for the last week or so. So Joe knows that, and he's feeling really good about the bullpens that he threw recently. He's feeling really healthy, so all of that good as he goes into the start against the Rangers.
Yeah, it's very important right now for Musgrove, and even for Brad Peacock tomorrow on 3 days rest, or Francis Martez the day after that making his first major league start. I mean, you've already got a bullpen that's been used a lot. And you're asking guys, one guy coming off the DL, one guy working on 3 days rest, and one guy making his first major league start. You're hoping for as many innings as possible because there have been a lot of short outings lately.
And that's the only thing AJ has to go on is hope, because there's really not much else you can do. You're dealing with a scrap heap of a rotation right now as far as young guys who as young as they are and as good as they are, maybe a little underdeveloped to be in this situation, because the veteran guys have a better idea of how to work through and try and grind through some of these innings, whereas the young guys are just more focused on their delivery mechanics and trying to fight through some of these big league lineups. But again, the bullpen is taxed, and that's where AJ Hinch has to tap dance a little bit around trying to protect guys in their arms, because not only is it a long season for a lot of these starters who have to go once every 5th day, it's a long season for those guys in that bullpen who are pitching 3 times a week, almost 4 times a week here of late.
Down at the plate, Beltre stays alive. Here are those numbers, Blummer, and one of them was an emergency start by Dion Diaz, but there are the total number of innings the bullpen has been used, and look at that stretch. There's no off days in there.
Yeah, and with all those innings being racked up, you see that big number down in the lower left, almost a 9 ERA. So these guys are going out and giving everything they have. It's just when you're throwing that amount of pitches out of the bullpen that consistently, you're going to get beat around a little bit and make some mistakes.
Line drive to left. Aoki fighting the lights, and he makes the play. Nori Aoki looked like he couldn't see that ball for a split second and was able to come down with it to retire Beltre.
He dressed it up.
Speaking of dressing up, he was dressed up before the game.
Nice, well played, my friend. But Aoki, we talked about the lights here at Minute Maid are a little bit lower because of the roof line here, but he stays with it nicely, picks up Joe Musgrove with that amazing catch.
I think his eyes are still adjusting to the light because he had a cowboy hat on before the game.
It would have been an easier play with the 10-gallon hat on.
1 out, Nomar Mazara the batter. Breaking ball for a called strike. See Mazara's career numbers against Musgrove. He has the best numbers of any of the Rangers against the Astros tall right-hander. Fouls it back. It's 0-2. If you're wondering why Nori was wearing a cowboy hat, he was presented by Reed Ryan, president of the Astros. A nice 10-gallon black cowboy hat.
Nice. There you go.
To go along with the Golden Players Club black jacket. They go hand in hand.
He's going to go out calf wrestling later. Appreciation from guys in the dugout that understand how hard it is.
On the ground, left side. Bregman waits for the second hop and makes the play. Bregman's been really solid over third base for the last couple of weeks, 2 away.
Yeah, he's done a good job, and I think a lot of it has to do with footwork, and you saw a good example of it right there. He thought about charging it, sat back, but got his feet in a good position to get his momentum going towards first.
Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa on the left side of the infield. High draft picks. A lot of attention will be paid to who the Houston Astros draft tonight. They will have 4 picks in the first 75 selections, including the very last one of day 1. But their first round pick, which is number 15 overall, is coming up within the next 15 minutes or less, as Miami has made a pick at number 13. So the Astros 2 away. Jonathan Lucroy, DH. Count of 1-1. Lucroy, a busy weekend over in Washington, catching that series, including an extra inning game on Saturday, so he gets a breather as a designated hitter today. Towards center, and there's the first hit of the game, and it's with 2 outs off the bat of Jonathan Lucroy.
First hit of the night given up by Joe Musgrove. See the location on this slider on our MD Anderson strike zone. Down and away. Pretty good pitch. It was off the end of the bat of Lucroy. Just does a good job of staying through it. Dropping it right in front of George Springer.
So here's Rougned Odor, second baseman, coming in batting .206. Taking the pitch down and in for ball one. Despite losing 2 out of 3 to the Angels, the Astros still with that big lead, a dozen games in the West, 13 over Seattle and Texas. Still the best record in all of baseball at 44-20. Next closest in the major leagues, the Colorado Rockies, 3.5 games behind the Astros pace through 64 games. This is a stretch here where you're not anticipating the Astros to play near 700 baseball. You just hope they can play as well as possible until the Keuchels and McCullers come back off the DL. Strike called. It's 1-2. Be nice if they could play 700 baseball, but it's not the expectation. Breaking ball in the dirt is 2-2.
Well, the only thing not affected, obviously, is the offense. So they could put up 700 type winning runs. We just worry about between the starting rotation and the bullpen if they're able to keep other teams underneath that number that the Astros offense are putting up.
We have mentioned the road home splits throughout the year. They continue to favor the road dramatically with the offense. Odor towards left center field, and this is going to fall in and go all the way to the fence on one hop. Aoki retrieves it, but in to score will be Lucroy. Odor heading to third, and he is there with an RBI triple.
Odor doing a good job actually of taking a pitch middle and going the other way. That is something he does not do a lot of. 10 hits, now 11 hits going to the opposite field for Rougned Odor. Again, splitting that gap. You can see the Astros playing to that pull position in the outside or the outfield. It's made it a long run for anybody to go over there and retrieve that baseball.
Well, that spray chart, what you mentioned, the reason why the left center field gap was so big. Astros not anticipating him to hit one there as Joey Gallo takes a pitch for a ball, 1-0. Speaking of gaps, there's a big one in the infield for Joey Gallo. We got Alex Bregman very close to the line at third, everybody else on the right side. Tried to hold up, but he went around. Gallo leads the team in home runs with 17, hitting .138 his last 8 games. And he sends one deep to right field. Reddick goes back to the wall, leaping, and is off the top of the fence. Springer will come and retrieve the ball from center. Back-to-back triples for the Rangers, and it's now a 2-0 game. Ball gets away, and now coming in is Gallo, and he is out at home plate. Ball got loose behind home plate. Musgrove picked it up, flipped to McCann for the final out at home plate. And Jeff Bannister is all the way out by home plate and wants a word with C.B. Bucknor.
He was out of their dugout before that play was even over. He had given up on it before some of the players on the field had. But they're going to probably take a look and see if that ball is out of the ballpark to begin with off the bat of Joey Gallo. That was a heck of an effort by Josh Reddick for me. But a couple of questions on this play. Do you argue the home run or do you argue the play at home?
You can argue as much as you want.
Is that clock ticking right now, by the way, as we look at that replay? Hit the top of the wall as far as we can tell on that replay. That yellow line is in play.
Yeah, that's a ball in play. So that one's okay for the Astros. How about this one?
Tagged him on that right elbow.
That one's a little closer, I think. So he's got to figure out which to challenge. And he's got 30 seconds.
I think the clock is out the window right now. The way CB and Fielding, Colbert are talking to each other, they're going to bring the entire crew in and try and dismantle this thing.
I think I got it. He wants to know if that's a home run first before he challenges the plate to plate.
Well, can the umpires challenge the home run? They have the option to do that, don't they? And then the manager can have the option to argue that call at home.
So this could be a double review on the same play.
Well, this should be fun. Hopefully they don't get double the time.
No, this will take. In fact, during this stretch, the Astros have 2 minutes and 8 seconds before they make their first round pick. So we may have the pick in before the.
You want to take the over? Which one's coming first?
The home run review is going to come first. I'm going to say the draft pick. The draft pick's coming first. Here's the whole thing. All right, this is definitely in play. We had a great angle of that. And then somehow the ball got loose. We both looked down for a minute. Correa kind of lobs the ball to home plate. No one was watching.
Oh, my. Pretty athletic play by Joe Musgrove, and heads up, too. Tag is on that left elbow. It looks like before the hand gets on the plate. There's a lot of dirt involved, but I don't know if there's anything to overturn what C.B. Buckner called. But this one we can actually count on. Right at the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side, you see it hitting off the yellow. You can see the pad indent itself. It's not hitting the glove of anybody in the stands. Another good look at it.
Yeah, that one I feel great about. The other one I'm not feeling as great about. I feel good about the other one, not great.
Was there enough to overturn that play at home plate for you?
That's why I feel good. It's close.
It is very close. I agree.
Yeah, there's less than a minute until the Astros have to have their pick in. And if they're doing a double review here, the home run should be a quick review.
Well, I think our guys in the truck gave us some very good reviews. It shouldn't take all that long if those are the angles they're looking at back in New York.
The Rangers just saw it on the big board here, so they realize that it's not a home run. But they have not seen the play at the plate on the big board.
Just glad Josh Reddick got up.
All right, so now Fielding is going to go over and discuss with Jeff Bannister. It's not a home run. And now I think Jeff's going to ask if he can review the play at the plate.
I'm not sure what he can argue about that play out there in the outfield. He keeps pointing towards the outfield, but we know clear as day on a couple of replays that yellow line is in play.
So we thought there would be 2 reviews, and here we go. Here's review number 2.
But we didn't even get a call on the first review. What was the first call? He just went over.
He must have told Jeff it's not a home run. But he didn't signal it until he gets both calls on his headset, because your call is safe for no home run. It would be confusing to show safe call here at the stadium if now they're reviewing the plate to plate.
But I didn't see anything that said safe, out, or otherwise, or call stands to Jeff Bannister. He just went down and had a conversation.
See if we see a better angle here on the plate to plate.
Out?
Yeah, I like that angle. I think the Astros win on both of these. There you go. Safe for the home run call, out at home plate.
That's what we were waiting for.
So it all works out, except for the Rangers scoring 2 in the inning.
On spotlight falls on Carlos Correa in wins and in losses. You can see what a clutch role this kid plays on this team. Now a full-grown man in the middle part of that lineup. I apologize. 338 when things are going very well. In those losses, he's hitting a .188. So you might think that the opposing pitchers might put a little bit of a spotlight on Carlos, saying you don't want this guy to beat you. But the interesting thing about Carlos Correa for me is that in his plate appearances this year, he has had runners in scoring position 31% of the time when he has come to the plate.
Had the big hit against Darvish the last time when these two teams met in Arlington. The Astros have made their pick in the first round as Correa fouls one out of play. It's 0-2.
J.B. Bukowskis out of Virginia, but went to the University of North Carolina. Right-handed pitcher.
Bukowskis is a Tar Heel who's now an Astro draft pick, number 15 overall.
Colin Moran is in AAA playing third base for the Houston Astros, also a North Carolina Tar Heel.
About 6-foot right-hander. Really good secondary stuff. As Correa, speaking of draft picks, where's the number 1? He was number 1 overall a few years ago. Down to the count 1-2. Pitch misses away, 2-2.
A lot of people asking, why did Bannister get 2 challenges on that play? He did not. The home run was a crew chief review, and the play at home plate was the Jeff Bannister chosen review.
Yeah, it was an unusual play, and then there were 2 issues to look at. And as you correctly pointed out, the umpires can review a home run call or not, which they did. At that point, Bannister was informed that it was in play. And then Field and Colbert went back and found out that it played. The play also did not go the way of the Rangers, and that was their challenge. So now Texas is out of challenges in the second inning. But lost in all that craziness is Joe Musgrove made a really good play for the final out of that inning.
Very heads-up play, because that throw in from Carlos Correa literally to nobody was a little concerning, but Joe popped up nicely and made a good flip to Brian McCann.
Correa strikes out. Darvish picks up his first strikeout after getting 3 groundouts in the first inning. So 1 out, nobody on. Carlos Beltran will be the hitter. Want to know the count. Carlos coming in batting .237. .239 as a left-hand hitter with all 8 of his home runs. Two and 1. Colbert says he goes around. It's 2-2.
May have went on that. Am I the only one recognizing that massive knee brace on his right knee?
Counts 3-2.
His right knee. I apologize. His lead knee. It's either a knee brace or he's got some gnarly bone spurs.
On the ground, right side. Odor waits, makes the play. Out number 2. So 5 up, 5 down for the Astros. They'll bring up Brian McCann. McCann riding a 5-game hitting streak, really started to hit the ball better after he left Texas. Kansas City series through the Angels series, 5-game hitting streak, batting .474 during that time. And he rips one, just foul down the right field line.
He has got his toes right on that inside line. Brian McCann does.
His twinkle toes?
Yeah. Getting ready to turn and burn like you just saw right there, ambushing that first fastball.
Well, Darvish has a lot of different pitches, but he's pretty much this year reduced it to 3 specifically: the fastball, the slider, and the cutter. The curveball he's throwing at the lowest percentage of his career. Same thing with the splitter. Changeup's just kind of a show pitch also. And that's fouled out of play. Stays 0-2. Darvish making his 14th start of the year. Overall, he has a losing record against the Astros in 13 career starts, 4-5 with a 3.62. Astros getting to him more recently. They are, in the last 6 games, he has an 0-4 mark with a 5.81 earned run average. McCann stays alive. Back-to-back triples in the top half of this inning. Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo have the Rangers on top 2-0. Mentioned things have changed a little bit since these two teams last saw each other. Rangers were swept by the Astros, but now are coming off a sweep of the Washington Nationals on the road, as McCann sends one to left field and Nomar Mazara puts one away for the final out of the second.
We move to the third. George Springer, you're looking at him. He is the official spokesperson for SAY, the organization. It stands for the Stuttering Association for the Young. He hosted his 3rd annual All-Star Bowling Benefit. That was last night right at Lucky Strike downtown, and all the benefits going towards Camp SAY, which is a camp for kids and teens who stutter. It allows them to just be around others who are just like them. And guys, getting to know George and his story a little bit, his mother Laura has told us, you know, he stuttered from the time he really started talking. Extremely quiet growing up. Every time he left the house, he would stop talking. He was always himself inside the house, but very quiet once he left, and he would always have his sister Nicole do most of the talking for him. But there wasn't really anyone around him that stuttered, and that was for him and for his family. They were kind of learning as they went. So that's what that organization does, and that's why George is so passionate about it. It's just raising awareness, but it's also giving some of those kids a true hero, a true guy to look up to and follow. And I got a chance to talk to some of those kids who stutter, who just thinks he's an inspiration. They see him on camera doing interviews. Imagine how tough that may have been for him when he first started, but now so comfortable and confident. I'm not the only one that bothers him all the time for home runs, especially when he's hitting homers at the rate he is this year. You know, you go into the clubhouse, there's lots of cameras around, but he tells the kids, you know, if I tell you to go out there and be yourself and talk and be confident, I've got to do it too. So that's exactly why he does it.
That's a great story. That is, that's a really unique individual who is not afraid to go out there and make an impact in this community.
And be a beacon of light for those kids. Are you kidding me? If I can do it, you can do it kind of thing. That's beautiful for George Springer.
And that cannot be the favorite thing for George Springer to do, is to give interviews when he does try and overcome that stuttering issue, as he has throughout his life, but he continues to step up and do it. And like he told the kids, if I tell you to overcome obstacles, I have to do the same myself.
No, it's pretty amazing. And you can be a supremely talented guy like George Springer and still have those issues and work through them. But he's a prime example of hard work, athleticism, but also that heart that's inside of him to be able to go out there and represent those kids and say, hey, it is possible to make these things happen, and be proud of who you are.
I don't know if y'all have ever been to that event. I don't know, Blunter, if you've made it to it. Just going to that event, it's been growing over the years. So the awareness for this organization is growing because of George. It's really cool to see. And it's a bowling event, so they have a really good time once they get out there in the lanes. And some of the teammates came last night. Josh Reddick showed up with his own bowling balls. They take it very seriously once they get out there. It is a true competition. But, you know, getting to know George for Josh, as his teammates said, you know, you would never know this guy had a stutter or had the childhood that he did, just because of the energy and the consistency that he brings. Every single day he comes to the ballpark, he's always showing up with a smile. We, of course, see that, but to hear it from a teammate who's getting to know him is pretty cool, too.
Yeah, that's great. It's great that Josh was there, too, and figures Reddick would have his own bowling ball, right?
He's got his own, right? He's got his own belt. Why not?
Own shoes.
Jake was doing a little trash talking too. I'm not sure how that ended up. We'll have to dig into that a little more. But Marisnik thought that George might be a little distracted with all the things he had to do and all the people he had to see. Maybe he had a little edge on him.
Little soft base hit into center field. Off the bat at the line of the Shields. He's a 1-out base runner. Rangers' 4th hit of the game.
As if you really needed another reason to cheer for George Springer, huh?
Right. Yeah, hard to imagine him leaving his house earlier in his life and not being much of a talker, just from what we know now.
Well, we're lucky. We get to wander around the clubhouse, hang out. I mean, not hang out in the dugout during the games, but there's many a time I've gone in and hung out in the equipment room talking to some of the guys that work on the equipment staff, because they were there, or they were in that clubhouse when I was playing here. So I still have a good relationship with those guys, and I'll sit down, start talking to them, and Biggio will walk in, and then George will walk in, and then all of a sudden it turns into this whole new hitters meeting. And George is the one leading the charge. You know, he's the one that wants to know what it was like.
Altuve, Correa 1, and in time for the double play. Shin-Soo Choo grounds it to an inning-ending double play. And we are through 2.5 with the Rangers leading 2-0.
This is leading 2-0 over the Houston Astros. And a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Yuli Gurriel will lead things off for the Astros in the third inning. Yuli riding an 11-game hitting streak coming in. Has that average up to 276. Gurriel, Alex Bregman, and Nori Aoki for the Astros in the bottom half of the third inning. Gurriel swings the first pitch, fouls it back, 0-1. Darvish so far has faced 6 batters and retired 6 batters, 4 groundouts, a flyout, and a strikeout. Only 23 pitches thrown in the first 2 innings. Fouled out of play, it's 0-2.
It's going to be interesting to see how this offense reacts with all the news with the starting rotation. I don't expect them to start to press, but if you do see them start to press, it wouldn't shock me. I just don't think that they need to, and I'd like to see them continue to have the same mindset as far as taking pitches and working pitchers, because we know when they do that, they have a tendency to score 6, 7, 8 runs in every game.
The secret to their success, and most of it coming on the road, is to kind of keep that line moving and not leave the strike zone and take your walks when they're offered to you, and you can't go for a 5-run home run.
Yeah.
And yesterday the Astros did a good job of that, coming back down 3-0, of scoring 2 in the second, 4 in the third. But then they gave up 9 straight. A lot of that was put on the bullpen.
Well, I don't know how much of it AJ has said out in the public. I think we've heard it a couple times, but he likes to do things in pairs. If the guy in front of you has a good at bat, you back him up with a good at bat. You want to have two quality ABs where if you get 2 guys on every inning, something good is eventually going to happen because you're putting so much pressure on the pitcher and the defense.
But there is probably a natural tendency in the back of your head, if you're an offensive player, to think, okay, we don't have our top guns out there in the rotation.
Well, it's kind of that Nolan Ryan effect. When he was pitching here with the Houston Astros and talking to Alan Ashby about it, he would go out and take the bump, but he got the worst run support, yet he had a 2 ERA and had a losing record, because you did kind of feel a little bit of that pressure of playing behind a guy like Nolan Ryan. But here it's more playing behind whoever's in the rotation, knowing that you have to score a bunch of runs every night.
Julie, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't know if you had a chance to hear AJ Hinch, but he was not ready to give any kind of "woe is me" quote. He said, the sky is not falling here. We're going to keep the same mentality. There's no more pressure on us. At least we can think that way. He's like, it's tough enough to deal with it, but they just have to keep finding ways to win. And if it's the case, they just have to out-hit teams or outrun teams, whatever it's going to take to win the game. But the mentality cannot change. It's worked for them all year up until this point. Why would they change anything?
I like it. It's good that they're addressing the issue, and I agree. Just keep doing what you're doing, boys.
They still have an offense that, other than the Yankees, has scored more runs than anybody in the American League, and that hasn't taken any hits. So we'll see how this goes during this little stretch here. Pitches up high to Alex Bregman, 1-1. Have I just not noticed, or is Bregman's white shoes kind of a nice look tonight?
Barely notice them. I think he had them on yesterday, too.
I didn't notice. 1-1 to count.
Call up Billy Johnson and ask him for recommendations on some new kicks, huh?
We saw David Paulino wear the white shoes the other day on the mound. Some thought with his height and the white shoes on the mound, it was kind of a J.R. Richard look.
Pretty sweet. Always makes it fun for the guys underneath who have to clean the cleats afterwards. My goodness, keeping those things fresh.
Now it's 3-1. So the Astros looking for their first base runner of the night. Bregman ahead of the count, 3-1. Ball 4, there we go. First base runner.
Orioles, he was 2 hits away from getting that gold, green, black jacket that we have been talking about, but he did it in grand fashion, going the other way, and that's what Aoki wanted to do, get into that Golden Players Club, and there it is. Donning of the jacket before the game here today in recognition of his accomplishment of 2,000 hits between Japan and Major League Baseball. Pretty cool honor for him, his family, and all those guys in that dugout too.
Press conference after the game yesterday, and then Nori with the presentation today before the game. Grounds one towards Odor. Makes the play to second. They have no chance to get the double play. So fielder's choice, Aoki lives on the ground ball on the right side. So 2 outs in the inning. Back to the top of the order for George Springer. J.B. Bukauskas, who is the Astros' #1 overall pick.
George Springer going oppo taco yesterday with Lance Berkman in the booth, talking about how George, really with his physicality and his swing, really doesn't have to try and generate any more pop than he already has. And I think what Lance was kind of hinting at is that George does not have to overswing to get that ball out of the ballpark. He has natural pop all over the field to leave any ballpark.
17th home run of the year for Springer. Now he bats with 1 on and 2 outs. No swing on that one. It's 1-0. One ball and 1 strike. Springer 6 for 15 with a couple of home runs against Darvish in his career. Springer has 82 home runs through his first 400 career games as an Astro. The only guy who had more in his first 400 career games as an Astro was a guy in the booth when he hit that home run yesterday, Lance Berkman.
LB.
Path to the draft show yesterday. Hope you enjoyed it. We had Mike Elias, who is very busy with the draft today, take time out of his preparation to join us up in the booth, and also Lance Berkman. Aoki going way before Darvish delivers. There's a strike. And Darvish actually in the middle of his delivery looked back and realized Aoki had stolen a base on him well before he made the pitch.
Darvish just got baggied. Jeff Bagwell did this all the time. He would just take off and jump the motion of the pitcher, but I'm pretty amazed at Darvish being able to alter his motion a little bit and just whip a fastball in there.
for a strike.
You and Aoki having a little conversation. It made Nori laugh a little bit. And that was an impressive pitch because he was looking at second base at one point during the delivery.
It looked like it was real close to being a bog.
Now George can put those numbers in play with a .591 average. Runner in scoring position at 2 outs, but he's got a 2-2 count. Now the count's full. He is very good with runners in scoring position all year long. You saw those numbers putting him in the top 10. Overall, 6 for 61 are hitters against Darvish with runners in scoring position. That's the best in baseball amongst pitchers. Darvish and Aoki continue to go back and forth a little bit.
I think it was a little more of you, Darvish, questioning himself on what pitch he wanted to go in a 3-2 count against George Springer. Because he kind of stepped off and looked at Chirinos and tapped his chest like that was on me. Maybe regroup and get the signs right with the runner at second base.
On the ground towards Beltre, gloved by the third baseman, makes the play across. That'll do it for the Astros. One man left on base. We're through 3.
Take a look at our Chevy Stroh poll. It's draft day. The first draft day. Choose your ultimate #1 pick from these former #1 overall picks. Junior, Chipper Jones, David Price, or Bryce Harper. Those are pretty good players. Remember, you can vote at Root Sports SW. So go to our Twitter page and vote. We'll tell you who wins later. I know who I'm voting for.
Who are you voting for?
Yeah, call it out.
I'm going with the Hall of Famer.
Nice.
Junior.
Hey, we have some changes, Julie, in the outfield. Josh Reddick is out of the game. Nori Aoki coming into right field from left, and then Marwin Gonzalez enters the game in left field. So Reddick, who grounded out in the first inning, but then also collided with the wall on a triple by Joey Gallo, is out of the game. Here's a pop-up. Aoki's going to get challenged right away, although it's the infielder Gurriel who's going to get the call on the catch for out #1. Well, Joe Musgrove, after allowing back-to-back triples, run-scoring triples in the last inning, down 2-0, working in the 4th inning. Here's Adrian Beltre. Number 1 overall today was a shortstop out of California. Went to the Minnesota Twins, Royce Lewis. And then number 15, the Astros select J.B. Bukowskis out of North Carolina. Some people felt he would be gone before the Astros picked at number 15. Fastball, excellent slider, and a developing changeup from the right-hander. We'll hear more about him in the coming days. 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball that misses outside for a ball, 1-1.
I think the bigger question is, when was the last time he threw? I'm kidding.
The Astros have had pretty good success with Lance McCullers, a right-hander, around 6 foot, 6'1". McCullers drafted out of high school. Kalkis coming out of college. On the ground, in the hole, base hit. Adrian Beltre, who had an 8-game hitting streak snapped yesterday, picks up career hit number 2954. He's a 1-out base runner. Rangers have 5 hits. Astros still looking for their first hit. Here's Nomar Mazara. Houston taking 3 out of 4 from Texas in the first meeting between these two teams. Here at Minute Maid Park, first 4 days of May. And the Astros going in to Arlington and winning all 3. 2nd through the 4th of June. Now facing each other for the 3rd time. Joe Musgrove ahead of the count, 0-1. Only game the Rangers have won in this season series so far. Astros leading 6-1 was the game on May 4th, where they knocked Musgrove out after 4 innings and scored 5 runs, 4 earned against the Astros, en route to a 10-4 victory. Down and in, 1-2. Bucknor calling time as Musgrove was about to deliver. Big Joe making his 11th start of the season and his first in 17 days, coming off the DL. And he gets Mazara chasing a pitch in the dirt.
Good to see from Joe, getting the swing and miss. Connect to Astros baseball all season with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Customize the app for the Astros and get awesome stuff all season by subscribing to at-bat premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat today, the #1 app for live Astros baseball.
First strikeout for Musgrove, and now he'll face Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy singled and scored his first time up. Rangers scoring in that second inning came with 2 outs and nobody on. Lucroy's single followed by back-to-back triples by Odor and Gallo. Musgrove ahead 0-1. Astros with the first of 3 against the Rangers. Day off Thursday, and then Boston comes to town to wrap up this 9-game homestand. Foul at the plate, 1-2. Musgrove has always pitched better here at Minute Maid Park than he has on the road, and he is making his 6th start in his last 7 at home. Only a start in Miami. In between 6 starts at Minute Maid Park: Oakland, Texas, Atlanta, Cleveland, Baltimore, and now the Texas Rangers. It's away. It's 2-2. The count runs full on Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy with a 3-hit, 3 RBI game Friday in Washington. Astros sweeping the Washington Nationals, the team with the best record in the National League coming into that series, and now belongs to the Colorado Rockies. Count stays 3-2.
Seeing some different velocities out of Joe's fastball. 91 on that last pitch, but it was just curious because there were a couple pitches earlier in the count, 90 miles an hour, but they were to the inside corner, so it makes me wonder if he's throwing a little bit of a 2-seamer down and in, but then the 4-seamer jumping up to 92, 94 miles an hour. So you're seeing a couple of different fastballs from Joe in this ball game. Seeing a curveball and a slider in this AB.
Popped up, foul, playable. Yuli Gurriel waits for it, puts it away. And Musgrove out of the 4th. 1 hit, 1 man left on base. Astros trail the Rangers 2-0 heading to the bottom half of the 4th inning. They will have 2-3-4 due up. Josh Reddick no longer in the game for the Astros, so the 2-hitter is now Marwin Gonzalez, who took over in the last half inning. It's Gonzalez, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa. There's Marwin, who will get his first at-bat of the night. Still waiting a report on Josh Reddick.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. We know we saw earlier in the year in Tampa Bay, Jake Marisnick going into the wall in center field. stayed in the game and eventually came out later because of the concussion issue. I wonder if something similar might be going on with Josh Reddick out there after running into the wall in right field. But again, we have not heard anything, just that Josh is not in that game. And the one thing we can look back at that was a little bit different in his game was running into that right field wall.
So Marwin, who's had a big season against the Texas Rangers, will lead things off and takes one for a ball, 1-0. Marwin coming in, batting .327 this year as a left-hand hitter, .313 overall. And the count's 1-1. Marwin's left-handed OPS 1,061 this year. Hit a big slam against these Rangers in the first meeting between these two teams. The Astros took 3 out of 4. Two and 1 the count. Darvish needed just 23 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. 19 last inning. He's at 42 to start this 4th inning. Now it's 3-1. Fifth 3-ball count of the game for Darvish, facing his 11th batter. Has walked 1, has not allowed a hit. Now 3-2. Marwin just 2 for 13 in his career against Darvish with 6 strikeouts and 0 for his last 9 against you.
Back and see what possibly had happened to Josh Reddick. Off the bat of Joey Gallo, deep to right field. Reddick, of course, going all out, but throwing his body into that wall. You can see kind of going with the upper body first, jamming that right shoulder maybe. See the neck, maybe a little whiplash, and then again the landing was pretty rough. Any number of things could have happened on that.
That was a pretty violent collision there with the wall. 3-2, and Darvish comes back to get Gonzalez after falling behind 3-1. Second strikeout for Darvish, 1 out in the 4th. Here's Jose Altuve. Altuve grounded out his first time up. Called strike at the knees, 0-1. Darvish is a guy we mentioned, throws a lot of pitches, fastball, slider, cutter, also a curve, a change, splitter. There's a breaking ball, curveball, it bounces in the dirt, 1-1. But he also is very deliberate out there, and with Robinson Chirinos behind the plate, all those pitches to call. Among starting pitchers, Darvish is the 3rd slowest worker in the American League. Fouled back by Altuve, 1-2.
This is when you want to get you in that 4 through 6 inning. Second and third time through the order. Second time through, they start to put a couple of numbers on them. See the hits allowed, jumping. That ERA jumping a little bit too. But not walking as many guys, probably because he's in the strike zone a little bit more, and the guys are aggressive, seeing some of the pitches from Yu Darvish the second time around.
Astros got him for the 3 spot with the Correa home run in the 5th last time they faced him. Altuve fouls one back. Astros still looking for their first hit. Only base runner was an Alex Bregman walk. He was erased on a fielder's choice. Norioki then stole a base, and the Astros have had just that one runner into scoring position tonight. Stays 1-2 on Altuve. Mentioned Altuve's career hit total 1124, tied for 10th. The guy he's tied with, Enos Cabell, representing the Astros tonight at the first-year player draft. Said Darvish is third amongst active American leaguers in pace. He's actually second because one of the guys who had been slower than him is on the DL right now. Only Chris Archer works at a slower pace. Time between pitches than Yu Darvish amongst active American League starters.
I'm not sure Robinson Chirinos helps the cause.
In the air, just by the infield dirt cutout. Andrews and Odor look up in the sky, and Odor gives way. Odor makes the catch.
It's that home run back on June 2nd. That was a big blow for the Houston Astros, wearing down Yu Darvish, but a hanging breaking ball on the outer third of the plate. That was a big hit for the Astros going into Arlington and doing damage. Trying to regain control of that silver boot. Young man taking the bull by the horns.
Correa red hot in that series and also in the month prior to that, winning American League Player of the Month and then having a big series against the Rangers. But since that series, just 4 for 25, had the day off yesterday. Hoping to get things restarted here. Pitch down low, it's 1-0. Home run by Correa scored all 3 runs for the Astros in that start against you. And you go back to the last 3 starts, including one against the Mets, one against the Blue Jays. All 9 runs that Yu Darvish has allowed in those 3 starts have come via 4 different home runs. 19 of his 29 runs on the year on the home run. And the Astros are trying to keep a streak alive of hitting home runs in consecutive games. They've already set the franchise mark by homering in 19 straight games, surpassing an 18-game stretch from May 13th through 31st in 2000. They now have the longest home run stretch of consecutive games in their team history. 1-2 pitch misses away, 2-2. One thing the Astros were able to do against Darvish his last start was, if they got on base, put pressure on him by running. Tonight they haven't had much of an opportunity with runners on base. When they did get Aoki on first, he did steal a bag. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, swing and a miss, strike 3. That's 3 strikeouts for Darvish. And He is through 4 without allowing a hit. West. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Shoppa's Farm Supply, your John Deere dealer along the Gulf Coast. Come by one of our 8 area locations. Shoppa's, all things John Deere. 5th inning baseball from Minute Maid Park, where the Astros trail the Rangers 2-0 in the opening game of this 3-game series. Joe Musgrove back on the mound, first time since May 26th, getting a chance to make a start. And Joe will face the guys who did some damage against him the first time through. Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo, and Robinson Chirinos. Specifically, Odor and Gallo doing the damage. They hit back-to-back triples to score the game's first 2 runs. Last time the Rangers hit back-to-back triples was 11 years ago. August 3rd, 2006. Hank Blaylock, followed by Mark DeRosa.
Interesting. I always worry when you do these throwbacks if you're going to call out a year I was on the team and go, man, did I let that thing go? Because I think I gave up Fred McGriff's last triple of his life here at Minute Maid when I was playing right field. But that's always, you know, when you, that's another thing. When you're on the field and the big board plays all the bloopers, you almost, you cringe. You're like, oh, please don't show the one. Please don't show that one.
There's a line drive into right. Aoki got a good jump on that ball and makes the play for the first out. Aoki playing right field where he hasn't been very often this season. Had a pretty good route to that one for the first out.
Got a good jump on it. Heard that bat off the ball, or that ball off the bat very well. Had some issues in left field earlier in this game. Now trying it out in right field. Looked pretty comfortable.
Here's Joey Gallo. Gallo hit that ball off the top of the right field wall. That resulted in a double review, whether the ball went out and then whether Gallo was safer out at home plate. He tried to score as the ball got loose behind home plate. Joe Musgrove with a good job recovering the loose baseball and throwing him out for the final out of the inning.
Hence the reason Joe's uniform's dirty. You don't see that too often for an American League pitcher.
Breaking ball, catches the corner. And ball 4. First walk issued by Musgrove. Joey Gallo's been on base a couple of times. Treat your employees, host clients, or even celebrate a special occasion with an Astros luxury suite. Ballpark, reserve a suite, create a premium experience your group is sure to remember. Visit astros.com/suites or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Brent Strom, pitching coach, out to the mound to talk to Joe Musgrove. With that, we see bullpen action for the first time tonight. Chris Davinsky beginning to loosen up in the Astros pen. Musgrove went a season-high 7 innings in his last start, but coming off a 17-day rest in between starts. Not stretched out. At 71 pitches now, and you know Davinsky can give you multiple innings. Robinson Chirinos the batter. He grounded out his first time up. Very early in the series, but so far that 4-game set earlier this year where the Astros took 3 out of 4 had the crowd pretty energized. They haven't had much to get energized about so far in this first game of the Lone Star Series this time around.
Well, if you are a Twitter follower of the Houston Astros and some of the updates you're getting throughout the course of this week and then today with Lance McCullers going on the DL, you might be a little beat down yourself as an Astro fan.
There's not been a lot of good news coming out of the training room for the Astros, especially in their starting rotation. 1-0 the count to Robinson Chirinos.
Doesn't mean this offense can't light it up at any given moment.
Called strike, 1-1. We had big crowds over the weekend with the Angels in town. Over 40,000 Friday. Sellout crowd Saturday. Over 30,000 yesterday. Popped in the air. Bregman gives it a look. Correa gives it a look, and it hits in foul territory, which makes it a dead ball.
Good job by Correa staying with it and making the play. That's a judgment call on the third base umpire, whether or not that ball is fair or foul when it hits the roof. You can see both players running into that foul territory and then back into fair territory to make the play, but it's where it hits the roof.
Tough break for Musgrove. That ball looked like it was playable had it not hit the roof. A little girder right below the roof there. Support beams. So it stays 1-2 now on Chirinos. Caught by McCann on the foul tip, and that means Chirinos is out. Strikeout number 2 for Musgrove, and 2 outs in the 5th. Out comes A.J. Hinch to make a pitching change. Jeff Bannister also out to argue with C.B. Bucknor, but Bannister doesn't have any challenges remaining. He is not pleased with the call, but he will have to accept it. And Chris Davinsky comes into this game as Musgrove leaves after 75 pitches. We'll tell you about Devo when we come back.
Rangers over the Astros. And our AT&T pitch usage on Joe Musgrove in that start back from the DL. You're seeing the fastball at 41.3%. The slider, the second pitch he used most of the time. But again, I was talking about that sinker, able to adjust on the speed, pull back a little bit and create a little more movement with the two-seamer and that sinker. Rarely used that changeup and got a couple of curveballs over. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 2 punch-outs for Joe Musgrove.
Round the bunt is DeShields, pops it up. Bregman makes the play. 1 pitch, 1 out, inning over. We are halfway through. Astros looking for some offense, down 2-0 to Yu Darvish. Astros looking for a way to get to Yu Darvish. This was the inning they got him back in Arlington. A 3-run home run in the 5th. Carlos Beltran will lead things off, followed by Brian McCann and Yuli Gurriel. Astros have gone to their bullpen in the 5th inning after Joe Musgrove pitched 4 2/3, allowed 5 hits, a couple of runs, walked a batter and struck out 2. Pitch misses to Beltran.
Tell you what, that 1 pitch, 1 out is huge for Chris Davinsky.
Great efficiency.
Absolutely. Keep that up.
Darvish has fallen behind 2-0. Darvish has worked some deep counts today, but only walked 1 batter thus far. He struck out 3. And the Astros still looking for their first hit. And he has started Beltran out by missing 3 times. 3-0 to Carlos Beltran.
Unleash the fury, Carlos. Get the head out. Drive one out of here. I like it.
3-0 green light. Fouled back.
Took a good swing in it.
During the early innings when Joe Musgrove was in there, we showed you the difference between his numbers, 0-1 and 1-0. They actually played out again tonight. Both triples were after he started the count 1-0, and 333 on 1-0 counts, 250 on 0-1 counts. Joe threw a little less than 63% strikes, which is a little bit below where he normally is. So for a lot of pitchers, that strike 1 is important, but for Musgrove this year, the numbers have been really a big differential between 0-1 and 1-0. Ball 4. Carlos Beltran draws a leadoff walk in the 5th inning. Second walk issued by Darvish. It's time to play, presented by Toyota. Brian McCann, last 5 games, .474, including 3 home runs. McCann in that stretch has 8 runs scored and 6 runs batted in. All starting in Kansas City and carrying over with the series here against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. McCann using the opposite field a couple of times in that series in Kansas City.
He's been McDoing it.
And he was a very good base runner with a nice slide at home plate to score a run. Breaking ball down and in for a ball. It's 1-0. We mentioned the Astros last time they faced Yu Darvish really took advantage by putting pressure on him whenever they got a runner on base. Now Carlos Beltran not your lead candidate to put any pressure on you. Maybe earlier in his career. But McCann did steal a base against Darvish back in Texas, back in Arlington.
Yeah, he did.
Second steal in 5 years for Brian McCann. All of a sudden, Darvish, who started out Beltran 3-0, is now 2-0 to McCann. To first, Gallo steps on the bag. Beltran gets to second. A little slow chopper. Retires Brian McCann for the first out.
Trying to step on the bag and get the lead runner. A little bit of a blowout. Lost his footing.
Carlos Beltran spent 52 games with the Rangers last year after playing 99 with the New York Yankees, so knows these Texas players very well. Hit .280 for the Rangers and hit 7 home runs in those 52 games. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Saw that last fastball come in at 94. That's been right around where Darvish has been all year long, averaging 94.4 on the fastball this year. That's the highest velocity for you all throughout his career. Ball is ripped just foul. It's not only the highest velocity, but it's also been effective this year. Hitters haven't done much damage against the fastball.
217 against that fastball, but it's a good 20 minutes to regenerate enough fuel to throw that fastball for him in between each pitch. So that might explain the uptick in velocity.
Where he's been hurt this year has been his secondary stuff, especially the cutter. You can see the opponent's average against the fastball going back to the 2013 season. That's as good as he's been.
There's a little bit of concern after Yuli turned on that heater. And again, Carlos Beltran, notorious for being able to pick signs, and I think there's mass confusion here as we wait for these batteries to regenerate. For Yu Darvish, they're going to have a conversation between Robinson Chirinos and Yu Darvish, trying to figure out what sequence they want to go in and what sign they want to use to try and keep Beltran off balance.
I wouldn't put it past Carlos to be flashing fake signs too, just to get in there.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Just to get in their head.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened was Yuli turning on that fastball made them think, how did he hit that? And then they turned around and said, oh, Carlos is at second base, so they must be giving signs, because God forbid somebody actually squares up a fastball.
Breaking ball. 1-2 the count. Yuli, a very aggressive hitter. We've seen him pull fastballs plenty of times this year. Some fair, some like that first strike, a foul. On the ground to third, 2 hops for Beltre. He'll make the throw across. Low throw picked by Gallo. And there's 2 outs.
Time now for our Ford spray chart with Alex Bregman coming to the plate. On your left-hand side, you're going to see his hot and cold zones and his spray chart. Pulling the ball quite a bit, not going the other way, but the pitches up in the zone are the ones that concern me a little bit. He doesn't do a very good job of getting on top of those and driving those. We've seen a lot of pop-ups to the right fielder and the second base, first baseman. Kind of tells you that bat will drag through the zone a little bit and get underneath those pitches, but if it's down and in, down and away, he does a good job of staying down through the baseball, and all of his home runs this year have been to left field.
Pitch bounces in there, ball one. Did get an update moments ago on Josh Reddick, who left the game after crashing into the wall, trying to save a home run, which turned into a triple off the bat of Joey Gallo. Reddick left with a mild concussion.
There it is.
Saw how he jarred himself into that wall trying to make that catch earlier. Two 2-0 the count. Well, here we are in the 5th inning. Darvish still has not allowed a hit, but with a lot of deep counts and a couple of walks, he's thrown 76 pitches.
I see you working there, trying to throw the little jinx at him.
The broadcaster jinx.
Yeah, because we have ultimate control up here. It's like a video game for us.
There's a swing and a miss. It's 2-1.
Yu's doing a good job of using that cutter and slider mix, because there's a little bit bigger break across the plate on that slider, but that short, quick one that you just saw on the 2-0 count has flustered some of these right-handed hitters.
Good pitch there, 2-2. It's that slider which he's used more this year than at any point in his career. You know, the fastball has been effective. The usage of the fastball has been a little bit down this year. Bregman good with runners in scoring position. Astros could use a little 2-out RBI here. 333 on the year with runners in scoring position. A little soft fly ball on the left. In comes Mazara, and he cannot make the play. Astros on the board with their first hit and their first run. Flair RBI single off the bat of Alex Bregman.
Hit it like he throws it. Throws it soft, hit it soft, dropped right in front. Well played. A lot of sliders like Todd was talking about. Here's one right here, but Alex does a good job staying down through it, just off the end of the bat, and enough to get it over the shortstop's head and land right in front of Mazara. He might be asked to replace his own divot after turning himself into a lawn dart.
He did stop in a hurry, didn't he?
Put the brakes on, didn't he? Whoop.
That does not look comfortable there.
Yeah, that's not how they teach it.
So the Astros cut the lead in half, down 2-1. Here's Norioki. Fastball for a strike, 0-1. Oki reached on a fielder's choice and stole a base his first time up. Hit number 1,999 of his career, combined between Japan and the major leagues, was to right center field. He hits one hard to right center field here. He might be at least at third and have a chance to think about circling him, because the Rangers really shade him to pull in center field and towards the line and right. Set it to Topper, right back to the pitcher, and Darvish makes the underhand toss. Astros on the board for the first time, trail it now 2-1.
Astros. Time to reveal the winner of our Chevy Stroke Hole. It's my first time to say that. Choose your ultimate #1 pick from these former #1 overall picks. All right, 75% of you are going to go with Junior. 14% with Chipper. David Price not getting much love, but Bryce getting a few votes in there. We had a lot of votes on Twitter. Thanks for your votes. You can follow us at Root Sports SW. Guys, what do you think?
I think you were too busy doing the Macarena to focus on the stroke ball, but I think Ken Griffey is a solid choice.
Guilty as charged.
Julie picked the right one. Griffey Jr., 75%, healthy win in the stroke hole.
A lot of potential in that young man.
Shin-Soo Choo, the batter. The Macarena was impacting Julian.
Yeah, check my Twitter feed. You'll be able to see a quick video.
Wow.
Yep.
Are you going to post that?
I ambushed it, yeah.
How often do you get to do the Macarena?
You tell me. I've yet to do it.
I haven't heard him play it at the ballpark.
So check Blummer27 on Twitter.
Oh, no.
Yeah, hold on. Trying to be nice about this.
I'm going to get you blocked real quick.
1-2 the count on Shin-Soo Choo. And into left field on the changeup, Marwin Gonzalez comes sliding in. Good thing Mazara repaired his divot because Gonzalez had to slide close to that area and makes the play for out #1.
Saw Mazara's effort last inning lead to the first hit of the game for the Houston Astros here. Marwin Gonzalez wasn't starting today, but sliding into action right here, make a nice play on that looping line drive to left. Textbook figure 4 slide, that is.
Here's Elvis Andrus taking a pitch for a ball. Andrus has a 15-game hitting streak going. Longest active in the big leagues. Also, he's hitting .415 in his last dozen games. Taking a strike from Chris Davinsky. Devo on for his first full inning of work. Retired Delino DeShields on 1 pitch to end the 5th. Now getting Shin-Soo Choo to start the 6th inning. You know, you look at these Astros, long men out of the bullpen. James Hoyt pitched an inning and 2/3 in yesterday's game. Michael Feliz struggled, but he's been used a lot lately. Evo hats are becoming the thing to do and the thing to wear here at Minute Maid Park, huh?
It's pretty cool. Dual purpose. Get thirsty afterwards, you just fill it up.
I like it. And Devo has pitched a lot from innings 5 through 7. Occasionally he'll get in the back end of the game, so that gives you plenty of time to fill it back up after his outing is over. But a walk there on 5 pitches to Elvis Andrus. Did we see, my first year here in Houston, did we see those Devo hats last year? Is that a new addition?
No, that's new. I think that fans have really made the effort to go out there and support these guys any way they can, but they are starting to catch on. And those are legit. You know, that's just not a solo cup turned upside down. Those are legit Devo hats. How many guys in that Astros clubhouse know who the actual band Devo is?
That would be a good straw poll. My guess would be less than 5. No, I'd say 5, more than 5. Somewhere between 5 and 10. Of the Astros players?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say somewhere between 5 and 10. Probably not half. What do you think?
Oh, I'm saying more than half have no idea who Devo is, or even if I went in there screaming whip it, they'd have no idea what I was talking about.
They would throw you out.
Yeah, they would laugh at the old guy in the corner.
Well, Davinsky's got a number of nicknames, and you've got the Devo hats. There's also a dragon-themed bobblehead coming out soon, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
That thing looks sweet.
Ball into right field off the bat of Adrian Beltre. Well hit, and this ball is off the wall. Springer plays it back in quickly. Andrus around third. He's going to score. Adrian Beltre with an RBI double into right center field. It's now 3-1 Rangers.
Rangers answering back off Chris Davinsky. We talked about the 1-pitch, 1-out to get him out of that last inning, and then he proceeds to come out for a 5-pitch walk to the second hitter in this inning, and then you get into the meat of this order, and Adrian Beltre with the elevated pitch, letting it travel and go the other way over the head of Aoki. Rangers answering back.
Here's Nomar Mazara. Mazara 0 for 2 against Joe Musgrove tonight. Musgrove winning tonight's battle. Mazara had some success against Joe prior to tonight. Now facing Davinsky for the first time. Musgrove allowed 2 4 2/3. The Rangers getting the 3rd run here in the 6th inning. Off Chris Davinsky. Popped high in the air, shallow right. Long run Aoki. Nori is there, 2 outs. Astros have basically used Davinsky every other day for about the last 8 or 9 days. I know they don't want to use him too much, so with that in mind, and a couple of lefties due up after Jonathan Lucroy, a lefty Tony Siff warming up in the Astros bullpen. Lucroy single, run scored. He's 1 for 2. There's a strike. 6 hits for the Rangers, just 1. An RBI base hit to left by Alex Bregman, the lone hit for the Astros.
Again, we talked about it all year. The job of the bullpen right now is just to keep this game where it is at. See if the Astros can knock Darvish out of this thing, because we know that the Texas Rangers have had all kinds of issues at the back end of that bullpen trying to close games out.
And in their 3 games against the Washington Nationals over the weekend, in which the Rangers won all 3, they used their only lefty, Alex Claudio, in all 3 of those games. Fiona Keller is kind of the setup guy, the 8th inning guy for Matt Bush. He pitched Friday and Saturday, threw 26 pitches on Saturday. Jose Leclerc has pitched the last couple of days. They were used a little bit. Matt Bush is still well rested. He's their closer.
Maybe that's why you want that closer label, so you don't get abused. Save it for a particular incident, and that's it.
The Astros bullpen today being called on with 2 outs in the 5th. Yesterday called on with no outs in the 5th. This one should stay playable for Yuli Gurriel. And it does. Davinsky allows 1 run, 1 man left on base. We're through 5.5. It's 3-1 Texas.
Astros 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park as they take on their rivals, the Texas Rangers, for only $39. You can be a part of all the must-see action this Tuesday or Wednesday night with the Beat the Rangers special ticket promotion. Buy your tickets at astros.com/beattherangers.
Third time through the lineup for Yu Darvish facing the Astros. George Springer will lead things off. Springer has grounded out a couple of times. 6 for 17 in his career now against Darvish with a couple of home runs. And a called strike. Darvish starts the inning with 81 pitches. He needed just 23 to get through the first 2 innings. Has thrown 58 the last 3. Jeremy Jeffress is warming up to start this inning as Springer grounds one to the left side for the 3rd time tonight. He is an out to start the bottom half of the 6th inning. Now, if you're going to get to the Rangers, this is not a bad time. Innings 6 through 9, they are a -28. Only the Tigers are worse in the American League.
Yeah, they're really going to lean on you, Darvish, here in this first game of the series. Pitch count is relatively low here in the 6th inning. The bullpen action for the Texas Rangers has not been good. It's been a revolving door. It's not like the Astros where they've been wearing out some really good guys. It's been guys who have been coming into these games and giving it up. Sam Dyson already has been eliminated from that bullpen. He was a key part of their bullpen last year. Matches up well with what the Astros do late.
Jeffress is a guy you see warming now in a 3-1 game. They haven't used him a whole lot. He's only pitched in 5 of their last 20 games. You mentioned some of the arms they used extensively in that National Series. 0-1 the count to Marwin Gonzalez, his 2nd at bat of the game. Josh Reddick started in right field. Gonzalez came on after Reddick left the game with a mild concussion. Curveball misses. It's 1-1. Darvish has thrown that curveball a little bit more tonight than he has been the rest of the year. Trying to keep the Astros off balance. Working into the 6th inning, deeper than he went in his last start against Houston. Now he misses 2-1.
The Astros hit the fastball better than anybody in baseball. 302 against that heater, so that might be the reason. They're no slouch on the off speed either, hitting 265 as a team, which is 8th in Major League Baseball. And obviously we know they can turn around a heater and drive it out of the ballpark too.
Three and 1 the count to Gonzalez. Back in 2013, Darvish had a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Marwin Gonzalez broke it up in that 9th.
It was my first ever broadcast.
You almost called a no-hitter against the Astros in your first ever broadcast?
Yes. It was a 3-man booth, and we were sitting there. I was in disbelief, I think, the last 2 innings until Marwin hit that ball in between the legs of Yu Darvish, and I finally started to breathe again.
Our producer, Carl Patterson's first game.
Yes. Julia
Morales' first game. Your first game.
Yep. That was exciting times.
That night. Man, like you said, I was kind of in disbelief as we were watching that. Just trying to get my bearings on where I needed to be and how the broadcast worked. Meanwhile, it was perfect. It was a perfect game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I'd ever talked to Marwin Gonzalez, was after that game. Hi, Marwin. I'm Julia.
Thank you for breaking up that perfect game.
Wow, you guys almost broke in with history.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Wow. Julie, would you have interviewed with a translator, you, or what were your plans at that point? Had you guys figured it out?
I think Carl and I had talked about interviewing Darvish if we could have. Of course, the Rangers were going to get him, and that was going to happen first. It was kind of a blur, really.
It was. Because like she said, that was literally, I mean, we had a couple of spring training games under our belts, but that was opening day for a whole new broadcast crew, and we're sitting here debating how are we going to handle this perfect game against the team we are now working for. It's not an enviable position. Bill Brown was the only veteran in that group. You know, Ash was sitting next to me. We just kept looking at each other like, what do we do now?
We were at the ballpark for opening day, but it was nationally televised that night, so we didn't actually broadcast that game. But that was day 2 of the season.
Wow.
Day 1 for us.
Little meeting at the mound after that first pitch missed to Altuve, and now it's 2-0. Well, Darvish got himself in trouble with a walk to lead off the 5th. That's the only run that scored against him tonight. And now after a walk to Marwin Gonzalez, he's behind 2-0 on Altuve, who can tie this game with 1 swing. Into left field. Playable. Mazara is there, out number 2.
It's that cut fastball again from you, Darvish. That late last second cut keeps the baseball off the barrel. It wasn't a bad swing by Altuve, just didn't barrel it up.
Well, here's the guy that hit the big home run against Darvish in Arlington. Last time you faced the Astros, exactly 10 days ago, Carlos Correa hitting a 3-run home run. Astros went on to win that game 7-1. Tonight, though, Darvish has had the upper hand, a couple of strikeouts against Carlos. Mentioned the Rangers are catching the Astros at a different time this time around. Coming into that series against Texas, the Astros had won 7 in a row, and they left town with a 10-game winning streak. En route to winning 11 straight. Now they're coming into this series having a losing week for the first time all year. Off the glove of Darvish, but he keeps it in front of him, and he retires Correa for the final out of the 6th inning. So we head to the 7th, still 3-1 Texas.
Our 3-1 Rangers. Every Wednesday night home game at Minute Maid Park is Dollar Hot Dog Wednesday. Enjoy all the dollar dogs you can eat this Wednesday by visiting astros.com/dollardogs or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. Francis Martez will be on the mound for the Astros this Wednesday. For all those fans who are coming out.
Tony Sipp, the new pitcher for the Astros, taking over for Chris Davinsky, who went an inning in the 3rd. Davinsky allowing a run. Sipp takes over here in the 7th inning, facing a couple of lefties: Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo. That'll face Robinson Chirinos. Did see the Macarena, by the way, Julia. Nice job on that.
Thank you, thank you. Taken years to perfect that.
Plenty of practice, I imagine.
No. That was what, 97, 98 when that came out?
Oh, when they started playing that at big league parks, it would not go away, and the entire stadium would be up doing it. There we go.
Oh no! How did we get it on the broadcast?
I don't know. The guys in the truck are quick. No.
Still remember it.
One thing this crew knows how to do is have some fun.
Pitch misses away for a ball. It's 1-1.
And that was only, a couple second snippet. There was like another minute and a half that I didn't get on tape. That was not the beginning. That was
the same thing over and over.
So just loop that.
Yeah, there you go.
Odor has tripled, scored a run, and knocked in a run. He pops one high in the air. We've already had one ball hit the roof tonight. That one stays shy of it, and Jose Altuve makes the play for out number 1. Draft pick tonight, number 15 overall for the Astros, a right-hand pitcher out of North Carolina, University of North Carolina Tar Heel, J.B. Bukowskis.
15 starts, pretty good record at 9-1. Keeping those aluminum bats under a 3 ERA is kind of nice. The Astros like that swing and miss number at 116.
I added an inch to his height. I said he was 6 foot. He's actually 5'11", right-hander. Guy who's got a very good fastball, very good slider, developing changeup. From the comments I've read so far, the Astros were kind of surprised that he was there at number 15. That's a good sign.
It's a powerful frame. 5'11", 200. Built to go the distance.
So hopefully he's able to sign quickly and start his career in pro baseball. Astros will still have 3 more picks tonight. They'll get through the first 2 rounds plus the supplemental picks, and the Astros have 4 of the first 75. They have 53, 56, and 75 the rest of tonight. 1-2 the count to Gallo. $25,689 on hand for this Monday night contest between the Astros and the Rangers. We showed you earlier about the bullpen usage. The bullpen has, in the last 6 games without an off day, thrown 22 2/3 innings. Tonight they're going to add 4 1/3 to that total at least to get through the 9. So they're going to be at 27 innings pitched, Blummer, in 7 days. That's a lot of wear and tear on the arms out there in the Astros bullpen.
It absolutely is. You got a core of guys that we thought at the back end of the bullpen would be used primarily for that. So A.J. Hinch has got to hold on to the Will Harris's and Ken Giles to close out those games. We saw Luke Gregerson pitching in a blowout yesterday, trying to eat up innings. I think that was more out of necessity than trying to get Luke Gregerson work, because of what we were talking about as far as off days lining up for these guys in the bullpen to try and keep them available.
Gregerson threw that final pitch in the series against the Rangers at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Thankfully, he was able to get an out off the bat of Shin-Soo Choo to end the game, because it was pouring in that final game of the series a week ago Sunday.
He basically said he was throwing a palm ball trying to keep that thing in the strike zone. It was so wet out there. Yeah.
Just gripped it.
5-finger death pitch.
1-1 to count to Chirinos. There's a good change up for a strike. 1-2. Tony Sipp trying to get through the bottom third of the order. He got Odor, got Gallo swinging for a strikeout. Now ahead of the count, 1-2 on Chirinos. And he gets Chirinos back-to-back strikeouts. Good inning for Tony Sipp. Seventh inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park. It is still 3-1. Our league leaders presented by Houston Methodist. Most players in the American League with 20 RBIs or more. The Astros have 10 of them. Followed by the Yankees, the Rays, the Rangers.
I'm sorry for giggling through a very good graphic on the Houston Astros leading the way with those 20-plus RBI guys. But that's what we talked about, depth in lineup. That's one extra guy. But going back to the photo right there, that is the bullpen coach, CB. Craig Bjornson right there. One of the more epic headshots that we've seen in spring training. Has been immortalized on a popsicle stick.
Love that.
Needs to be more of those floating around, please.
That could be a great giveaway for the Strozone one Friday.
I need one of those for the flights.
Here we go into the bottom of the seventh. Carlos Beltran leads off, takes a called strike. Astros trying to get to you, Darvish here. They have just one hit tonight. And it's 0-2. Darvish started the inning with 92 pitches. So Jeremy Jeffers starts the inning warming up once again in the Rangers bullpen. On the 0-2 pitch, it's popped high in the air on the infield. Gallo and Odor there. With the Rangers, you never know who's going to make the catch because they always look like they're both going to make it, especially when Andrews or Odor are involved. Beltran pops out for the first out. Darvish has been very good tonight. Some deep counts and walked 3 batters, but only one hit allowed, and that was just a soft single in the left. Here's Brian McCann.
According to a lot of the numbers that we looked at, and maybe the scouting reports that the Astros looked at too, it's primarily fastball slider from you, Darvish, this season. We have seen a lot of cutters and a lot more breaking balls than I think either of us anticipated. That's that breaking ball. That's the curve ball.
We haven't expected to see that many curves tonight. He has pitched differently than he has most of the season, and when you face a team 3, 4, 5, 6 times during the course of the year, you have to mix it up, and he has done a nice job of that tonight. Well, the line drive percentage coming in on the season has been the highest of his career, but we have not seen many high exit velocities tonight off the bats of the Houston Astros.
The hardest ball we saw hit was Yuli when he turned on a fastball inside down the left field line for a strike.
I can't think of any other line drives that have been hit today. 1-1 the count to Brian McCann. A lot of ground ball outs, 12 ground ball outs for Darvish. line drive percentage and hard contact percentage, the highest of his career coming in, but today he has been very good.
We talked about earlier, 5 home runs in his last 4 games he's given up.
Astros streak is on the line too. 19 straight games with a home run. And it's 2-2.
Some interesting numbers on you, Darvish. These are the analytic numbers. BABIP, balls put in play against him, well below the major league average at 247, yet his FIP numbers right around that major league average. The stuff that he is in control of. Take the defense out of it.
Now tip in and out of the glove of Robinson Chirinos. The FIP number is the highest of his career. Again, it's not a full season, but 411, he's never been higher than that. The BABIP number is the lowest of his career.
So when he is giving up hits, he's giving up damage.
Not striking out as many. 9.8 strikeouts per 9. That's the lowest of his career. That helps raise that FIP number as he does get McCann there. Not a lot of strikeouts tonight. This is a guy who averages 11.2 strikeouts per 9 throughout his career. That's the highest in MLB history for 500 innings or more. He only has 4 strikeouts tonight.
Slider, good pitch down and in to back foot him.
They are not afraid to let you throw a lot of pitches either. They've gone as many as 125 this season. He's also had a couple of starts with 116 and 117. Starts Gurriel off with a strike. Center field. The Shields is there. 1-2-3 inning for Darvish. We're through 7. It's still 3-1 Texas.
This Auto Diamond King is Joe Zambito. 8 seasons with the Astros. Had a record of 33 and 32, 72 saves. How about that ERA at 2.42? Keep in mind, he only started 5 games, so doing a lot of work out of that bullpen for the Houston Astros. Late in ball games, the rare left-handed closer. Doing a great job getting some ground balls, it looks like, using that defense behind him. Is that a little cutter?
Getting Mick Kelleher. Pitch down low for a ball to start this inning. Art Howe made that play on that last ground ball out too at first base. Delino DeShields leading off the 8th inning. Rangers lead 3-1. Shields 1 for 3. Tony Sipp had a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th. Back for his 2nd inning of work. Seen Sipp go multiple innings a number of times this year, including a career long outing of 2 2/3 in a game against the Marlins earlier this season. Pitching an inning and a third on Saturday against the Angels. Falling behind the Shields here, 3-0. Rangers scored 2 in the 2nd on back-to-back triples. Rougned Odor and Joey Gallo. They added a run on an Adrian Beltre RBI double in the 6th. Astros' lone run came on an RBI single by Alex Bregman. Single by Bregman, the lone hit against Yu Darvish tonight. Sipp walks Delino DeShields to start the inning. Here's Shin-Soo Choo, 0 for 3. Round the bunt, past Sipp, barehanded Gurriel. His throw is wide. Nice play by Sipp to not allow the ball to go towards the dugout. Base hit on a nice bunt by Shin-Soo Choo.
Very nice bunt. That's a push bunt that you see employed against left-handed pitchers because they fall off towards that third base side. There's a great look at it, but I'm with you. That was a heck of a play by Tony Sipp to keep that ball from going into that Astros dugout. Pretty gutsy move by Yuli.
Really good play to save an error for Gurriel, but Sipp's night is over. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Dion Diaz will be the new pitcher for the Astros. We'll tell you about him when we come back. Yuli Gurriel, that's broken up as they will have runners on 1st and 2nd with nobody out, and Dion Diaz, the new pitcher.
Dion has been getting his work in. There you see yesterday against the Angels in 23 pitches, had a couple of punch outs in an inning, and in third has a very good fastball, almost averaging 95 with it. Then he has a slider and a split fingered changeup.
First batter he will face is Elvis Andrus. Andrus takes a called strike, 0-1. Diaz started the game for the Astros on Wednesday in Kansas City, an emergency start in place of Dallas Keuchel. Went 2 2/3 innings. Came back to record 4 outs in yesterday's game and now appearing in back-to-back games. Close play at second. The Shields just barely gets back.
Pretty good turn by Diaz. See the daylight sign given by Correa. Good spin and throw. Catch and drop the tag.
Down low for a ball, 1-1. When Diaz joined the team Wednesday in Kansas City, he had no idea who was going to be the starting pitcher in that game. He just arrived that day to the ballpark that afternoon before the game. Next thing you know, he was the emergency starter that day when Dallas Keuchel felt ill. Now it's 1-2.
Might have been a little friendly competition between Carlos Correa and Delano DeShields, ex-Astro farmhands. Delano DeShields at 2010 first round pick for the Houston Astros. In 2012 it was Carlos Correa. Now it's Altuve's turn to go over there and try and pick off Delano DeShields Jr. or just to say hello, get reacquainted.
Saw an article today about the whole scouting numbers from 20 to 80 and how rare it is to get an 80. There goes DeShields Jr. swing and a miss. The throw instead to second. Chu is out at second base. Chu wants a review, but they have no more challenges. This is the 8th inning, so this could be the umpire's discretion. Bannister's calling for the headsets, but
I think earlier in the game when Joey Gallo hit that ball, they said that both calls were crew chief reviews, allowing this opportunity for Jeff Bannister to make this call to go to the headset. I think it's going to get overturned just on the first look at it. This might be a little bit better look at it, but that foot is on, and then the tag to the back of the knee, and I don't see him pop off. Stays on the bag after the slide in. And I think that's when earlier when we saw A.J. Hinch going out talking to the umpires after that inning of multiple reviews on one play. Might have been the clarification of that, understanding that the replay of Joey Gallo's triple was a crew chief review, and then the play at home plate was also a crew chief review.
gotcha. So they do have a challenge remaining, and they will use it here.
Unless there's an angle that we don't see that shows them getting the, or shows Altuve getting the tag on that left calf, but I just didn't see it. Enough to overturn it for you?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
There you see Delano DeShields Jr. You mentioned he was a 2010 pick of the Astros. Saw an article today by Tyler Kepner in the New York Times about the grading of players by scouts and the 20 to 80 grading and how hard it is to get an 80. And one of the rare 80s the scout said he gave was to Delano's father, Delano DeShields, who played with the Expos primarily. And he gave him an 80 for his speed.
Wow, that's flying.
Delano's dad was a great athlete out of Seaford, Delaware. Got recruited to play basketball at Villanova University, ended up being a top draft pick and had a great career at the major league level as well. Call's overturned, so Chu picks up a steal. That's his 6th. Delino DeShields picks up his 14th stolen base. So now the infield comes in with 1 out. Adrian Beltre, the batter. He takes a called strike. Beltre gave the Rangers a 3-1 lead with an RBI double his first time up. One and one the count. So both reviews on that same play were crew chief reviews, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Beltre 2 for 3 tonight.
I don't believe I've ever seen that before. Pretty much given Jeff Bannister a pass on one of those reviews in that inning that we saw Joey Gallo hit that ball off the right field wall.
Now the count's 1-2. And Diaz gets Beltre swinging. Big strikeout for Dion Diaz. 2 outs in the inning, getting Andrews and Beltre back to back.
Yeah, that is pretty big, especially with first base open, able to get the veteran Adrian Beltre to expand the zone with runners in scoring position.
Now Dion can see his way out of this inning. Facing Nomar Mazara. Mazara crutches one to center field. Springer looking up. This ball is gone. Home run straightaway center field. 3-run shot. Makes it a 6-1 game.
Two out RBIs are backbreakers.
Mazara's 8th home run of the year, his 44th RBI now with 3 driven in on that swing. That's a team lead with 44 runs batted in. Here's Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy 1 for 3, single and a run scored. Tries to hold up, but he goes around. 0-2. Towards third, Bregman on 2 hops. That'll do it, but the Rangers score 3 on a 2-out, 3-run home run by Nomar Mazara. Presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by the original light beer, Miller Lite. Hold true. Bottom half of the 8th inning. 3-run home run. A big spot for the Texas Rangers in the top half of the inning. Nomar Mazara hitting his 8th home run of the year to give the Rangers a 6-1 lead. Astros are happy to see Darvish out of the game. He was very good tonight. The new pitcher for Texas out of the bullpen is Jeremy Jeffress.
See his numbers on the season, making his 27th appearance. 1-2 record. Again, somebody out of that bullpen with an ERA inflated at 5.48. But my goodness, that whip number right around 2. It's not a good sign. That means a lot of hits and walks being given up. And you can tell by the K to walk ratio, 1 apiece.
Well, let's see if the Astros can get a little rally going. Down 5 now. After that 3-run home run by Mazara. Bregman has been on base a couple of times. A walk and a single. It'll be Bregman, Norioki, and George Springer. Jeffers starts him with a ball, 1-0. Darvish goes 7 innings of 1-hit baseball tonight. The lone hit was off the bat of Alex Bregman. He's not striking out as many this year. Only 4 strikeouts for Darvish. He walked 3 and allowed 1 run. Bregman in the center field. Jared Coyne, the new center fielder for the Rangers, makes the play for the first out.
That'll cheer you up. Rally CB.
Here's Norioki, 3-hit game yesterday. Reached the 2,000 hit club combined between Nippon Professional Japanese League and the major leagues. And eclipsed that 2,000 mark with his final at bat, got to 2001. Tonight looking for his first hit, reached on a fielder's choice and stole a base. Oki says it hit him in the foot, and CB Bucknor agrees. Jeffers is saying, I don't think it hit him in the foot.
Oh yeah, dude, it got a shoelace. You can see it right there. I don't know what Jeff Bannister's doing, but he is out of reviews. We talked about it earlier. Is it this late in the game that the umpires can?
No, they got it right last time.
They did get it right last time. I apologize. It did get overturned, so he's going to have his guys look at it, and they are going to go review it. And I've had several people on Twitter not understand that earlier in the game, both plays in that game, or earlier in the game, were crew chief reviews. Therefore, Bannister still had an opportunity.
I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand why they were both crew chief.
I don't either. Maybe they said, hey, we're going under the hood. We might as well look at everything. I've never seen that before, but that's the way it was explained.
Ruling on the field is hit by a pitch. Is there enough to show definitively that it did not catch a Norioki shoelace? I say this one stands. Because you can't see definitively that it doesn't brush his foot. You would have to have like a little camera right in front of home plate like they have sometimes in the home run derbies. Because there's no way you can tell for sure that didn't brush.
Wasn't there always that rumor back in the day when they used shoe polish on shoes? They could go to the ball and check and see if the shoe polish had rubbed off on it. From that angle, it looks like he got hit in that back foot. You could argue that one's not going to turn it over for you.
I think if they ruled no hit batter, it would stay, and if they ruled hit batter, it stays.
There you go.
I think this one's going to stand. So we've gotten them so far tonight.
Yep.
Or he's like, I don't tell a lie. I know that hit me. And we do get the word that the official ruling from New York is the call stands. Lenori's on first base. And here's George Springer. And now the Rangers are out of challenges.
Yes, finally.
I thought they were out of challenges
We've
earlier.
exhausted them.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Here we go with Springer. George looking for his first hit. 3 groundouts on the left side of the infield. Fouls one back, 0-1. Jeffers out of the bullpen. Heavy use of that sinker, heavy use of the fastball. He'll throw more splits to right-hand hitters, more curveballs to left-hand hitters. On the ground toward short, Andrews, Odor, they got the one. No chance with Springer running for the double play. Bummer, we are still waiting for our first high exit velocity swing tonight from the Astros bats. They've been silenced by Darvish, and now the first inning by Jeremy Jeffress.
Yeah, usually they go on the attack when they get that starter out, especially with this bullpen that we've been talking about for the Texas Rangers getting beat on.
See if Marwin can get something rolling here with 2 outs. Marwin's streak of reaching base is as a starter. So it's really wasn't continued tonight, even though he walked his last time up. Came on after the first at bat by Josh Reddick. He had reached in 30 straight games as a starter.
Just as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. That's that hit we were talking about April 2nd of 2013 to break up that perfect game for the Houston Astros. Sometimes it's okay to cheer when you're not going to be a part of history.
One and one the count. First broadcast for the 3 of you guys. That's a tough way to start.
Yeah. My goodness, Robinson Chirinos. It's like the first time he's ever worked with this staff.
We told you about Darvish's pace. 26.5 is the total in between each pitch, according to Fangraphs. This guy has the slowest pace of any pitcher in the American League. If there was a pitch clock, he would be in trouble. He averages 30.7 seconds in between pitches.
What are you doing for 30 seconds?
I'd have thought. Now to play. It's 2-2. Marwin entered the game after Josh Reddick left with a mild concussion. Marwin has struck out and walked so far tonight. 3-2. I'll be right back.
Well, you got plenty of time. I'll hold it down for you.
Hey, the Astros have made another pick. Thanks to Jeremy Jeffers, we were able to find out the second pick is Joe Perez, third baseman, a high schooler.
Now the third round's over. Cow. Just delaying the inevitable. Marwin Gonzalez looking for a good pitch to hit after working this count to a 3-2 count.
Fort Lauderdale high schooler, Joe Perez. This is not Robert Manfred's favorite pitcher. Jeremy Jeffers. This is when he was talking about a downtime in between pitches and needing more action in the game. It's not necessarily the time of the game, it's the amount of action in between.
Yep. Oh, that's exactly right.
Ball four. Astros with 2 runners on, 2 outs. With their closer, Matt Bush, warming up in the bullpen. He is well rested, especially considering some of the other guys in the bullpen who have been used up. Bush has not pitched since Friday. Kale will go out and have a word with his pitcher. Pick they just made, Joe Perez from Southwest Ranches, Florida, so not far from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. The Astros have their spring training now.
It's got to be nice for him. Oh, he's going to spend some springs in his backyard.
Fans trying to cheer things on here and get some sort of rally going against these Rangers down 6-1. Jose Altuve at the plate with 2 on and 2 outs. Called strike.
You need anything from Torchies? Be right back.
Soft line drive, gobbled up by Odor on 1 hop. And he makes the play to retire Altuve, and that'll do it in the 8th inning. 2 men left on base. We head to the 9th, 6-1. Today, vote tomorrow, and vote Astros for your 2017 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote at astros.com/vote and catch all the excitement of the 88th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard live on Fox July 11th. Tomorrow should be another update of the American League balloting. Last time we saw Jose Altuve take over the lead from Starlin Castro at second. And we also saw Carlos Correa shrink the lead of Francisco Lindor at short. We'll see if Correa makes a further move towards at top of the vote at shortstop. Astros have a chance to have the starting middle infielders for the All-Star Game as Dion Diaz works the ninth inning. First pitch is fouled back by Rougned Odor, 0-1. Odor part of back-to-back triples in the second inning. The only 2 runs allowed by Joe Musgrove. Odor and Joey Gallo with run-scoring triples. Odor's was to left center, Gallo off the wall and right. Taken low for a ball, it's 1-1. Two and one. Dion Diaz working out of the bullpen for the 3rd time this year for the Astros. Pitched against the Yankees as the 26th man as part of a doubleheader roster addition. And that is a called strike, 2-2. Diaz also pitched yesterday against the Angels and getting a chance to make his 3rd appearance out of the bullpen and his 4th overall appearance as an Astro. Diaz pitched 6 games last year, all out of the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds. Inside is 3-2. Tomorrow the Astros will go to Brad Peacock on 3 days rest. Corbin Martin from Texas A&M, right-hand pitcher, is selected by the Astros, pick number 56. They've made 3 of their 4 selections today. Saw that Joe Perez is going to have Tommy John surgery tomorrow. 3rd baseman and pitcher, high school pitcher from the Fort Lauderdale area, Southwest Ranches. He's seen the best, Dr. James Andrews, and they feel like maybe that's why he was available at that pick. 3-2 pitch on the ground, fair ball, past Yuli Gurriel in the right field. Oki plays it in a hurry, and he'll limit Odor to a single. Well, Astros fans will have another reason to watch the College World Series now.
Yep.
Corbin Martin and Texas A&M will be playing in the College World Series. I know Reed Ryan was very proud of TCU making it back for the 4th consecutive time. Here's Joey Gallo. One of the highlights of your baseball career, Omaha?
Yeah. No, it was. It was pretty cool. My freshman year, we went to the 1992 College World Series. It was probably one of the greatest moments of my career up until that point, until they announced my name over the loudspeaker.
In Rosenblatt Stadium?
In Rosenblatt Stadium, with my family finally leaving the state of California to watch me play baseball on ESPN. They were there live. My first at bat, I dig in. Charles Johnson, the catcher for the Marlins for many years, was catching for Miami.
Yeah, Hurricane.
I was 18. I had a pretty good ego on myself. Dug in. Said, "Hey, CJ, have a good game, man." He looks at me like, "Who in the heck are you?" And the PA announcer proceeds to announce me as now batting for your California Golden Bears, number 11, Geoff Bloom.
They threw a Geoff on you?
Full deflation instantly, and I went 0 for 6 in a 13-inning game, and we lost by 1.
Geoff Bloom?
Yeah, how much more can I take in my life, Todd?
Oh my God.
I thought my mom was going to run into the press box and put that guy in a headlock.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can understand Bloom blow.
Yeah.
But Geoff?
Oh yeah, it just completely just crushed every bone in my body with two mispronunciations. Got me.
I didn't know I had brought up bad memories. Sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Todd.
Sorry, I apologize. 2-0 the count to Joey Gallo.
Next day we lost to Florida State by 1 run, and it was 2 in barbecue.
2-1 the count.
But I went 2 for 3 in that game, so I did get on the board.
There you go.
Yeah.
I kind of like what Lance Berkman was talking about yesterday on a path to the draft. It's nice that the draft, at least beginning of the draft here, is not when the teams are playing in the College World Series.
Yeah.
Because that's a distraction.
Big time.
You got guys out there trying to play the biggest games of their lives to this point, worried about getting drafted. But yes, you will see the latest Astros draft pick in the College World Series. Congratulations to Corbin Martin on getting selected with the 56th overall pick by the Houston Astros tonight. Two and 2 the count to Joey Gallo. Now the count's full. So far tonight, the Astros have taken 2 right-handed pitchers out of college and 1 high school right-handed pitcher who also plays third base. Probably third baseman first, pitcher second. There goes the runner on this 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss out there, and the throw is short hop caught by Correa. So Odor with a steal. Stolen base number 6 on the season for Rougned Odor. Three strikeouts for Dion Diaz. Diaz allowing the 2-out, 3-run home run, but one of those runs charged him. The other 2, unfortunately, charged to Tony Sipp, who left the game with 2 on and nobody out. A couple of strikeouts getting Andrews and Beltre before the home run by Mazara. Here's Robinson Chirinos. Bounces off the plate, skips past Brian McCann. Wild pitch sends Odor to third. Six runs, 9 hits for the Rangers. 1 run, just 1 lone hit for the Astros. Infield will come in with 1 out. In case you missed the news earlier today, Joe Musgrove coming off the disabled list to make the start. And the corresponding move for the Astros was that Lance McCullers was placed on the DL. McCullers with lower back discomfort, retroactive to June 9th, which was Friday night. Hopefully he will not be on the DL very long, but now the guys that they had anticipated going into spring training 1 through 4 in the rotation are all on the DL. Joe Musgrove got the start tonight. Brad Peacock on 3 days rest tomorrow. That'll be the first major league start for Francis Martes on Wednesday. Two and one to count. Beyond that, Mike Fiers and David Paulino against the Red Sox over the weekend. Fiers has been very good in his last 3 starts. Two and two the count. Chirinos, one of the 4 catchers in this series that is bearded. He's the only one of the 4 that has hair, though, on top of his head.
Bonus.
Lucroy, McCann, Gaddis. Then you got Chirinos.
It's good stuff.
Thank you. 2-2 pitch swing and a miss. Diaz has 4 strikeouts now in an inning and 2/3 as he gets Chirinos there.
Got him with a changeup. Mixing it up a little bit. Good fastball slider, but decides to pull a string on him. See that good downward action, get the swing over the top.
Jared Hoying gets his first at bat. He came on defensively for Delano DeShields last inning. Strike called, 0-1. Diaz 17 games with AAA Fresno this year, has good numbers, 4-0 with a 1.93 ERA. Pitched with the Astros in spring training as a non-roster invitee. Also pitched in the WBC for Columbia. Picked up a save in their win, their lone win in the WBC. Hoying with a count of 1-1. Diaz up to 33 pitches tonight. Two balls and a strike. Rangers heading out on this road trip. Took on the Washington Nationals. Team with the best record in the National League coming into that series. Swept them, and now they're leading the team with the best record in all of baseball, 6-1. It would be a tough 6-game trip, and so far they have fared very well. Out of play, it's 2-2. But what a difference 10 days can make. Keuchel versus Darvish. Starting that series in the middle of an 11-game winning streak. And now the Astros with Keuchel on the DL, McCullers on the DL. And their bullpen has really been used up over the last week. We have chronicled that. 27 innings this week without an off day at the end of this game. 2-2 pitches away. It's 3-2.
Like to be able to say that in another 10 days. If you can get McCullers off the DL, if you can get a Dallas Keuchel back off the DL, get those guys right and get them back.
Foul tip caught by McCann. That'll do it. Dion Diaz ends up striking out the final 3 batters of the inning. He strikes out 5, and we head to the bottom of the ninth. Rangers leading the Astros 6-1. Couple of runs in the second, single run in the sixth, and then that big 3-run home run by Nomar Mazara turned this 3-1 game into a 6-1 game as the Astros come to bat in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann due up against Jeremy Jeffress. Jeffress pitching for the second time in 3 days. Going to get 2 innings of work tonight, possibly, although once again we see Matt Bush warming up just in case in the Rangers bullpen. Astros with just 1 hit tonight. Rangers have walked 4 batters and also hit a batter. Ball strike to Correa, 0-1. That ball's driven to left field. All the way back is Hoying, looking up, it's off the wall. Correa into second with a double. Astros have their second hit of the night, and Carlos Correa, leadoff base runner in the ninth.
Carlos bringing those hands in nicely, and it's nice to hear a little bit of thunder out of that Astro batting order. Bring some of the kids to their feet. Does a good job bringing the hands in to get the barrel to that baseball. It might have been a little bit too quick. Got that a little bit closer to the barrel, it might have gone out of here, but still a pretty good swing from Carlos Correa on the inner third. 99.7 miles an hour off that bat.
That's 5 feet to the right. It's a home run. Here's Carlos Beltran. Beltran's 0 for 2. He walked and scored the Astros' only run.
A good look. Hands go first, and then the barrel lagging through the zone and then launching through it. Nicely done.
Correa's 13th double of the year. One to count to Beltran. Jose Altuve leads the team with 15 doubles. Beltran second with 14. Now Correa in third. Two and one. Correa with the Astros' second hit tonight. Alex Bregman a single, Carlos Correa a double. Now it's 2-2. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Popped in the air, right field. Chu and Odor converge. It's the right fielder who takes control for out number 1. So Beltran flies out to right, 1 out in the ninth. Mentioned the Rangers came off a series sweep at the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are another team that have had their share of trouble trying to close out games. They just had Coda Glover put on the DL over the weekend. And today they had a big lead against the Braves late getaway. Atlanta scoring 2 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. And the Braves won in Washington 11-10. That was the one issue all spring whenever we saw the Nationals, and we saw them a bunch at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, was who was going to close out games for them. Here's Brian McCann. Called strike, 0-1. McCann has a 5-game hitting streak on the line, 0 for 3. Jeffers ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
Talking about that Carlos Correa hit him. If it's 5 feet to the right, it turns into a home run, extends that home run streak to 20 games.
And down to the final couple of outs to continue that streak. Franchise best 19 in a row. That was really the only ball hit with any high degree of exit velocity today off the Astros bats. 1-2 to count. Called 3rd strike, says CB Bucknor. Out number 2 in the 9th.
Tailing fastball just off that outside edge. CB Bucknor giving him the benefit of the doubt. Or he may have lulled him to sleep into calling that.
Here's Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel fouls one back, 0-1. Astros down to their final out. Danger of losing for the 5th time in 8 games since leaving Arlington. Left Arlington, they were on a 10-game winning streak. Won the first game in Kansas City, so overall they had lost 4 out of 6 before tonight. Pitch misses away, it's 1-1. Gurriel, a couple of ground outs to third, also has flied out to center. Yuli's got a hitting streak on the line as well. His is 11 games. Now the count's 1-2. Leadoff double by Carlos Correa. He has not moved. A fly out to right and a strikeout. And now the count 1-2 on Yuli Gurriel. One more meeting at the mound. Robinson, Trinos, and Jeffers going over things at a 2-2 count.
It is truly remarkable how often Trinos goes out to the mound. I know there's a runner at second base. We've talked about how the issues with Carlos Beltran maybe picking some signs and passing them on to other teammates, but It is excessive. It's not as if he has to give Jeffress any more time to relax out there on the mound.
To left, Mazara is there. And the Rangers win this first game of a 3-game series as they win it 6-1. 2 hits combined allowed by Yu Darvish and Jeremy Jeffress. And the Astros lose the opener of this 3-game series. They have now lost 5 of their last 7.
Our player of the game is going to be brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And unfortunately tonight it's on the other side. Yu Darvish pitching well here at Minute Maid Park, going 7 innings strong. And those numbers on the bottom are right. 1 run, 1 hit off of Yu Darvish for this electric Astros offense. Also had 4 punch outs, pitched around 3 walks for Yu Darvish. Rough night for the Astros pitching and offense.
So the Rangers win 6-1. We'll have plenty more coming up, including the post-game show right around the corner.